Did you know that the American steel industry, which fueled the rise of the United States as an industrial superpower, was shaped by one man's vision and drive? That man was Andrew Carnegie, a poor immigrant who turned steel into gold and became one of the wealthiest individuals in history. Andrew Carnegie's name is synonymous with the rise of the American steel industry. His relentless pursuit of efficiency, innovation, and expansion transformed the steel business from a fledgling industry into the backbone of modern infrastructure. But Carnegie's story is not just about business. It's a tale of ambition, determination, and the complexities of wealth. Carnegie's impact on American industry was profound, and his journey from a poor immigrant to one of the world's richest men offers valuable insights into the transformative power of industrialization and entrepreneurship. Before Andrew Carnegie made his mark on the steel industry, iron was the primary material used in construction and manufacturing. However, iron had several drawbacks. It was heavy, brittle, and susceptible to rust, which made it less suitable for large-scale projects. The mid-19th century saw the introduction of the Bessemer process, a groundbreaking method that enabled the mass production of steel by forcing air through molten iron to eliminate impurities. This innovation transformed the industry, as steel proved to be stronger, more durable, and more flexible than iron, making it ideal for the expanding railroads, skyscrapers, and bridges that were beginning to shape America's landscape. Despite these technological advancements, steel production remained costly and labor-intensive. The industry was in need of further innovation, and Carnegie recognized a unique opportunity to harness this new technology and revolutionize steel production. Andrew Carnegie was born in 1835 in Dunfermline, Scotland, into a poor family. His father was a handloom weaver, but the advent of industrialization rendered his skills obsolete. By the time Carnegie was 12, his family had fallen into deep poverty, and they decided to immigrate to the United States in search of a better life. The Carnegie family settled in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a burgeoning industrial city. Young Andrew quickly found work in a cotton factory as a bobbin boy, earning a meager wage. But it was enough to help support his family. Despite the long hours and harsh conditions, Carnegie was determined to improve his circumstances. He educated himself by borrowing books from a local library, and it wasn't long before his hard work and intelligence caught the attention of others. His next job as a messenger boy for the Ohio Telegraph Company opened doors to a new world of opportunity. Carnegie's diligence and quick learning made him a standout employee. He memorized the names and faces of important businessmen and learned everything he could about the telegraph and business operations. This position allowed him to develop a network of influential contacts and gain valuable insights into the world of business. Carnegie's big break came when he was hired by Thomas A. Scott, the superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad, one of the most powerful corporations of the time. Scott saw potential in the young Carnegie and took him under his wing, offering him mentorship and guidance. Carnegie quickly rose through the ranks, becoming Scott's personal assistant. Under Scott's tutelage, Carnegie learned the intricacies of the railroad industry, including logistics, management, and finance. He absorbed Scott's lessons on the importance of efficiency and cost control, principles that would later become central to his success in the steel industry. During this period, Carnegie also began making strategic investments. One of his first successful investments was in the Woodruff Sleeping Car Company, which produced luxury sleeping cars for railroads. This investment proved highly profitable, earning Carnegie a substantial return and giving him the financial capital to pursue larger ventures. Carnegie also invested in oil, which was just beginning to boom in Pennsylvania. These early investments laid the foundation for Carnegie's growing wealth and business acumen. In the early 1870s, Andrew Carnegie saw the tremendous potential that the steel industry held. As railroads expanded and urban areas grew, the need for strong and durable construction materials was increasing rapidly. Carnegie understood that steel was the key material for the future and was determined to lead in this emerging industry. In 1875, he made a decisive move by establishing his first steel plant, the Edgar Thomson Steel Works, named after the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad. This facility was strategically located in Braddock, Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. Carnegie spared no expense in equipping the Thomson Works with the latest technology, including Bessemer converters, which allowed for the mass production of steel at a fraction of the cost of traditional methods. This technological advantage gave Carnegie a significant edge over his competitors. But Carnegie wasn't just relying on technology. He also implemented a business strategy that focused on vertical integration. This meant that Carnegie controlled every aspect of the steel production process, from mining the iron ore to transporting it to his mills to manufacturing the finished steel products. By eliminating middlemen and reducing costs at every step, Carnegie was able to produce steel more cheaply and efficiently than anyone else. Carnegie's approach to business was revolutionary. He understood that to dominate the steel industry, he needed to produce steel faster, cheaper, and at a higher quality than his competitors. He also realized that in order to maintain his competitive edge, he needed to continue innovating and expanding. Over the next several decades, Carnegie expanded his operations, building more steel mills and acquiring additional resources to fuel his growing empire. He invested in the latest technology, including open hearth furnaces, which allowed for the production of steel on an unprecedented scale. By the turn of the century, Carnegie's steel empire was the largest in the world, producing more steel than all of Great Britain combined. Carnegie's success in the steel industry was due in large part to his willingness to embrace innovation. He was constantly looking for ways to improve efficiency, reduce costs, and increase production. One of his most significant innovations was the introduction of the open hearth furnace, which allowed for the production of steel in large quantities with consistent quality. This innovation was a game-changer for the industry, enabling Carnegie to produce steel on a massive scale and at a lower cost than his competitors. But Carnegie didn't stop there. He continued to expand his operations, acquiring iron ore mines in Minnesota, which provided a steady supply of raw materials for his mills. He also invested in a fleet of ships to transport the ore across the Great Lakes, and built railroads to haul the ore from the shores of Lake Erie to his mills in Pittsburgh. By controlling every aspect of the production process, Carnegie was able to ensure a steady supply of raw materials, reduce transportation costs, and increase profits. Carnegie's obsession with efficiency extended to his workforce as well. He implemented strict efficiency measures in his mills, demanding long hours and high productivity from his workers. The work was grueling and dangerous, with many workers toiling 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Despite the harsh conditions, Carnegie believed that his workers were well compensated, and that the success of his business was a testament to the American dream of hard work and perseverance. Despite his success, Andrew Carnegie's business practices were not without controversy. His relentless pursuit of efficiency often came at the expense of his workers, leading to labor disputes and public criticism. The most infamous of these disputes was the Homestead Strike of 1892, which would become a defining moment in Carnegie's career and a significant stain on his legacy. The Homestead Strike erupted at the Homestead Steelworks, a critical plant in Carnegie's empire, when workers walked out in protest against wage reductions and worsening working conditions. Tensions quickly escalated when Henry Clay Frick, Carnegie's business partner and the plant's manager, brought in Pinkerton agents to break the strike. This decision led to a violent clash, resulting in multiple fatalities on both sides and creating a public relations nightmare for Carnegie. Although Carnegie was in Scotland at the time of the strike, he was widely criticized for his role in the events. The public perceived him as a ruthless capitalist who prioritized profits over people, a stark contrast to the image he had carefully cultivated as a philanthropist and champion of the working class. The strike left a deep scar on Carnegie's reputation and served as a harsh reminder of the human cost of industrialization. In addition to labor disputes, Carnegie also faced fierce competition from other industrial giants, such as John D. Rockefeller, who dominated the oil industry, and J.P. Morgan, a powerful financier who was expanding his influence in steel and finance. These men were not just competitors, they were potential threats to Carnegie's dominance in the steel industry. To navigate these challenges, Carnegie relied on his business acumen, strategic thinking, and willingness to adapt. He knew that to stay ahead of his rivals, he needed to continue innovating, expanding, and cutting costs. In the aftermath of the Homestead Strike, Andrew Carnegie realized that maintaining his empire required more than just business acumen. It required careful management of public perception. Determined to restore his reputation and leave a positive legacy, Carnegie doubled down on his philanthropic efforts. He began giving away vast portions of his fortune to build libraries, schools, and institutions of higher learning across the United States and around the world. His philosophy of the gospel of wealth, which argued that the rich had a moral obligation to give back to society, became the cornerstone of his legacy. Carnegie's philanthropy was not merely an attempt to atone for the events at Homestead. It was also a genuine expression of his belief in the power of education and knowledge to uplift individuals and communities. By the time of his death, Carnegie had given away over $350 million, a staggering sum at the time, funding the creation of over 2,500 libraries, Carnegie Mellon University, the Carnegie Corporation of New York, and the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, among other initiatives. On the business front, Carnegie continued to expand his steel empire, investing in new technologies, building additional mills, and acquiring more resources to ensure that his company remained the most efficient and cost-effective producer of steel. But as he approached the age of 65, Carnegie began to think about his legacy and the future of his business. He wanted to retire and devote himself fully to philanthropy, but he knew that selling his company would be a monumental task. The opportunity to exit the steel business came in 1901, when J.P. Morgan approached Carnegie with an offer to buy Carnegie Steel. After some negotiation, Carnegie agreed to sell for $480 million, making him the richest man in the world. Morgan then merged Carnegie Steel with other steel companies to create U.S. Steel, the world's first billion-dollar corporation. Carnegie's decision to sell marked the end of an era in American industry. With his steel empire sold, Carnegie turned his full attention to his philanthropic endeavors, believing that his true legacy would be the good works he left behind. Carnegie's legacy is a mix of industrial triumph and the moral questions that come with immense wealth. His contributions to the steel industry helped build the foundations of the modern world, while his philanthropy continues to benefit millions today. If you found this deep dive into Carnegie's life fascinating, you might also enjoy the video on the screen now. Thanks for watching.